Thanks a bunch, Mr. Minardi, for sitting down. We appreciate any time that someone in your position who has done so many great things to our state has given us to sit down and talk about this. When I look you up, I can find that you are a head attorney in your own firm. You're a legal director for Normal chapter in Florida. You're listed on the board of directors for Regulate Florida, and you've got a partnership with Florida Cannabis Coalition, the Florida Cannabis Action Network, and Cannabis. With such a long and great activism, what are the best organizations, besides your own firm, that you prefer to partner with?
Well, a couple of the organizations that you didn't mention is Minorities for Medical Marijuana, which is another one that I'm a board member of, and also the Silver Tour. So my preference for partnerships are realistically the Silver Tour, Minorities for Medical Marijuana, and Normal Florida, and then Regulate Florida, but I'm biased, obviously. I'm the campaign manager and chairman of that organization, which I very much support and believe in more than anything.
And which one have you seen make the most change over the years?
Normal of Florida probably, and the Silver Tour actually has had a lot of impact throughout the state of Florida. I think both of them. And Minorities for Medical Marijuana is a new organization, but I think an organization that is bringing a diversity and an educational level and area of this industry that we have not seen anywhere else in the country. And I'm very good friends with them, and obviously a board member of that organization, and very proud to see, and I think that organization has continued to rise in the state. Absolutely, it's a wonderful organization.
Kind of a broad question, but what is Florida doing wrong that other states seem to have gotten right?
Well, I think it's just the fact that our legislators and the people that are enacting this amendment that we have passed just don't believe in it. They don't believe in medical marijuana. When you have two of the doctors in the House of Representatives, stand up and basically one of them compared, medical marijuana to Gasparilla and it being a legend and fake and a Trojan horse, and he's a doctor. And for me, from my perspective, that's sad in multiple ways. And he came up and he's like, I took 2 oaths. I took an oath as a representative to follow the Constitution, and I took an oath as a doctor, to not do no harm. And from my perspective, and people who are patients and what I know about this industry and this medicine, he's doing harm by not educating himself about this, by not giving it as an option to his patients. He is harming more people than he is helping every time that he writes a script for a pharmaceutical medication. So, it's ignorance. And a reporter had mentioned this to me when I said it's ignorance. They don't know what's going on. They don't understand. They're afraid. He's like, is it ignorance or is it willful blindness? And I think that we have to look and say, is it willful blindness? Because we know 71% supported this. We know that now it's legal in 29 states plus Washington, D.C. And it looks like we're going to have a 30th dropping soon. And Iowa just passed it, so they became 29. Virginia. It was either West Virginia or Virginia that just passed medical marijuana as well. And I think Iowa's going to then be the 30th. So we're going to have 30 states plus Washington, D.C. that support medical marijuana. Over 70% of the people, I believe, nationally support medical marijuana in polls. Over 60 to 70% of the doctors across the country, when polled on like WebMD or something, supported the ability for them to at least have it as an option. And one of the things that we know more than anything is that probably about 99% of the universities, medical schools, and the college do not even have a single program on the endocannabinoid system, which we know now, science shows us, controls pretty much every major life function in our body.
And is more throughout than the opioid system, is more,
It's disgusting.
And that's why I ask, when it seems that the majority of the people are for one thing, and yet the minority or the powerful, the political, are not giving that, it seems that where's the disconnect? What's happening?
I don't know, and the only way that I can say, and that goes back to the willful blindness question,
yes, I think
are they just getting paid enough of money so that they can be ignorant or pretend to be ignorant and pretend to be afraid of this?
Yeah.
And I think when you look at the numbers, The money trail clearly shows that.
Money speaks.
Because campaign contributions and PAC contributions are listed on the Division of Election websites, how much money these people get. And we know how much money these nurseries have paid on lobbyists and on campaign contributions over the past 3 years. So I kind of think, especially Ray Rodriguez runs, I believe, his political committee is Floridians for Free Markets.
Seems a bit ironic.
It does, and same as being a Republican and wanting big government and wanting limited on the marketplace. So they're introducing, and they've been debating a trauma bill up there about trauma centers. So with trauma centers, the clear message is this: we need more centers, we need more facilities, which will create better patient access and better prices. But with medical marijuana, it's totally different. We need less facilities, less competition. So get over the ignorance and stop treating this differently than everything else.
A lot of, for the average Floridian, they're reading this information or they're watching this information and they're getting probably a little upset and they want to take action. They want to do something. They want their voice to be heard. What is advice that you can give to the average Floridian of how they can be involved in this? How can they get involved in the fight?
Well, number one, my position is join one of these organizations.
Right.
Get involved with Naples Florida. Get involved with Florida Cannabis Coalition. Get involved with Regulate Florida. Get involved with the Silver Tour, and that's educating seniors on medical marijuana, or minorities for medical marijuana. Because these groups will, number one, give you the real information as to what's going on now. And we'll be able to, there are people that, events like tonight, we had the Green Carpet Networking event with Florida Cannabis Coalition. There are about 70 people here in Naples, Florida who have an interest of cannabis. And I think the more people that come out, the more you go to events, the more that you realize there's like-minded people. You're not the only one advocating for this. There's people like you that believe in this and support this. It will hopefully give you a little bit more power and a little bit more comfort to speak out. When I started this 10 years ago, there was one other attorney in the state, Norm Kent, who was vocal about legalization and the passing of medical marijuana. One other attorney that I know of, Norm Kent, who had a medical necessity defense case and pushed it and won it. You know, and not through trial, but at the trial level through a judge, not with the jury. You know, but other than that, you know, attorneys that I speak to, attorneys that I bring the Regulate Florida petition to, they don't want to sign it. You know, number one, they're afraid to be labeled. Number two, they don't want to lose their business. And number three, they don't want to be stereotyped in this industry 5 years ago. Now we have firms throughout the state, some of the biggest firms in the state that are supporting this issue. And people in all different avenues, all different socioeconomic statuses that are coming out supporting this issue. So this issue has changed. It's coming more and more mainstream. And events like this in a beautiful place like the Hilton in Naples with 70 people that, you know, there wasn't much diversity here tonight. But, you know, we still are educating a group of people that typically we feel are against this issue. It's a red area, they vote Republican, but again, this is an issue of compassion, not about politics.
Seeing the turnout tonight was very good, especially for so much in South Florida.
It was amazing, actually.
Sometimes looking at who our representatives are, the political spectrum can be somewhat negative when it comes to cannabis. But is there any representative or representatives up there that people can support, people that are pioneering for patients?
Like I say, there were 9 no votes in the House bill. So, and some of the good rhetoric came out of, so Jeff Clemens has been, he's a senator. He's been a supporter of medical cannabis for a long time. Wonderful, wonderful senator right now. He was a representative prior to that. Jeff Brandis, who's over here up in Tampa, as well, has been a big supporter and has, you know, introduced some of the most liberal legislation here in Florida for it. And you know, a young kid, Smith, and I don't necessarily know his first name right now off the top of my head, but spoke very eloquently the other day in the House about, you know, pushing the medical cannabis bill, opening medical cannabis, allowing smoking, and really speaking out for the patients. And he's one of the first representatives that I've seen, especially on the House floor, openly supporting that issue. So there are some in Florida Cannabis Coalition, Naples Florida, and Regulate Florida. We'll be identifying candidates over the next election, number one, that we can support, that we want to start putting money behind. Number one, that our freshmen and young are going to be there for the next 4, 6, hopefully 8 years. And number two, new candidates who are going to be running against these incumbents who may be against medical marijuana and marijuana in general, and try to ostracize and get them voted. So that is the plan. We are not giving up. You know, my position is this. This is the beginning. We passed medical marijuana. I'm pushing for legalization, but we're also continuing to push for open access on the medical market, and then continuing to educate and get people involved. And so not only on pushing on the legislative end, but making sure that we have people in power and in our government that support this issue. And we're seeing this benefit on the federal level. So the federal level, you know, Jared Polis, he's a politician.
Yes.
He's a senator now, I think, out of Colorado.
From Colorado,
He's
yes.
either a senator or representative out of Colorado, who had a caucus, I believe, today in Washington, you know, about medical marijuana, or about marijuana in general, legalization, the benefits of it. And these people are actually fighting for the will of their voters. You know, we have the senators and the governors in these states that have passed legalization that have stood up and said, we're going to fight Sessions if they come down and they want to try to stop us. We're going to go to court on this. And we need our politicians to do that. And the only way that we can do that is if we hold them accountable and make them afraid of losing their job if they don't do what they want, what we want.
What I love about Jared Polis is that he wasn't even a supporter of marijuana in his county, his district, but the voters were for it. He said, all right, I will support whatever you want because you're the will of the people. I'm a public servant. Let me help you. That's the way it should be.
That's how I thought politics was supposed to work.
Right, yeah. Okay, so let me skip that question then. Several cities in Florida have already decriminalized marijuana, making it, if you get caught with it, it's just a fine and a citation for some of them. Do you think that we may see a push towards decriminalization over such a heavily regulated market in Florida?
Well, so, and we'll go back to the wonderful Senator Clemens. He did have a decriminalization bill that was introduced that did not get through and didn't pass, but absolutely. You know, I think the more that we continue to push this, and again, and it's why everyone out there who's going to watch this or see this or read this, you know, support Regulate Florida, because the way that we push issues forward is by progressing the issues. If we stand in the same position and just continue to fight for medical, then we're going to continue to deal with this limited medical market. Unless we push the issue forward, unless they know that something else is coming if they don't give us a legitimate program, I don't think that we can introduce that dialogue. And the same thing, pushing Regulate Florida, making people speak about it, making this be a part of our next election will allow our voters to be more educated. Number two, to hopefully get more of the truth out. You know, this isn't something that's going to make you lazy and stupid. It's not going to kill brain cells. It's not going to cause DUIs. It's not going to cause people to, you know, shoot people and kill themselves and things of that nature. I mean, we need to get the education out there because it's important, and people have to know that this was never made a criminal cause because it was dangerous, but because there was politics and money and greed, not because of the safety or danger of it, because we would never have had alcohol or tobacco if that was the case. And we saw what Prohibition did in the 1930s. It didn't work. It created a black market, it created gangsters, it created criminal enterprises that we didn't see in this country before that. And that's exactly what this has done. And we have shown through legalization they've taken billions of dollars out of the hands of cartels.
As I start to notice what people usually say is that it seems that Florida wants the benefits that Colorado has, but without doing the things that Colorado did. They want that tax money to come in for education for a bunch of things, but they're not willing to do what needs to be done in order to get it.
Well, so interesting question, and so no, most of our legislators, like when you say Colorado, they're like, we do not want to be anything like Colorado. They are anti-Colorado. But today was the first time, and so up until today or yesterday when the amendment was issued, there had not been an issue, and the legislature had been clearly no tax on medication. So two amendments were introduced yesterday, one by Senator Clemens and the other one by Wilson or Brandon. One of those two that did add a tax to medical marijuana, a sales tax. And that's how it is in Colorado, and that is how it is in some states. So not an excise tax like you're seeing the 25% on recreational marijuana in Colorado, but a 5, 6, and depending on the county, 7% sales tax on your product. So it's the first time that our legislature has done that. Most medications are not taxed. And I think it's going to continue with this limited market, put a financial burden on our patients, honestly. unfortunately.
It seems almost pretty obvious from what we've been having to tell patients is unfortunately, yeah, you're going to have to pay a good amount of money.
Well, estimates are, there's a woman from the Florida Epilepsy Foundation, her husband had a seizure, the Senate hearing, she testified in the House hearing that her bottle of Charlotte's Web that she buys for $500, costs about $3,000 in Florida under our dispensaries.
Sir.
What happens when you only have 7 people to control the whole market, right?
It's nice monopoly. I don't want to make you repeat everything that you said over there earlier, but can you tell us what patients may expect over the next few months as these laws are put into effect?
So, technically for the patients, and from my perspective, number one, the Department of Health and patients are already getting recommended under Amendment 2.
Yes.
So I would continue to tell patients to continue to do that. I don't know, so they're getting rid of the 90-day rule. That's not going to be an issue. So patients are going to see better access for themselves.
Yes.
Patients are going to see more availability of products coming. So patients are going to be able to see an opening up of the market of the products and availability of it, but probably not a change in the pricing, and get rid of the 90-day period. So I think in some ways, and we'll see once they start creating these vaporizer canisters with flour or whatever they're putting in it. Because I've heard from some sources that they were told that they're going to use the sugar leaves and grind up the sugar leaves and put those in the vaporizers. But I've also heard allegedly from people within the industry that work for some of these companies that said that they're going to give bud. I do not know the truth, and I will not know until I see one of those containers and someone cuts it open and decides to, smoke it instead of putting it in the vaporizer.
Absolutely.
So it is opening up for patients, but I still think price, availability, quantity, quality, and the access to a wide variety of products is going to be extremely and severely limited. I am, for patients who it's not necessarily life and death, and who have been and who support and continue to use the black market, I, at this point, do not want to support nurseries. I do not want to give them money. I do not want to send them patients. I want them to understand that they made a bad bet when they passed this bill, and Clemens warned them. So allegedly back in 2013 or 2014 when they passed this, and when they were creating this low THC horrible program with the 5 nurseries, he warned them and told them that this crap was going to happen. Amendment 2 is going to pass, and it's going to open up the market, and you guys are going to be, have paid through the teeth to get in here and then you're going to fight. He warned them about it, and they went through with it, and that's why we have cartels. It's disgusting for me. This is a plant. And we fought so hard against pharmaceutical companies to get this plant free and to get this plant available to people. Now we have to invite and fight our own cartels in the state of Florida, the own people that are allegedly for the medication but don't want open access to people, didn't stand up and come out publicly fighting for smoked cannabis, didn't come out publicly fighting for subcontractors so they could bring in other businesses and products that are proven in other states for our patients. No, they're going to reinvent the wheel, reinvent their products, as opposed to allowing people who know how to do this, have been using this for years, and have been creating quality products for their patients. And to me, that's not medicine. It's not what we voted for, and it's why we have to support Regulated Florida, because Regulated Florida will make sure that happens.
All right, thank you. 2 more questions. Have you received any pushback or negativity over the years for supporting marijuana?
I don't really know. No, I don't think so. And if I did, I probably may not have realized.
Okay.
I've had many attorneys, like I said, back in the day when I first started, would definitely be like, I would never do it, and I'm glad somebody is.
Okay.
But no, I don't think I have had any issues with pushback against it. I luckily think, I've gotten my niche. People know that I'm not in this for sort of the money, or I'm in it for the patients, I'm in it for the people, I'm in it because I believe in this plant more than anything in this world. And after I legalize it, from my perspective, I could get 5 acres on a farm and disappear. I do not care. This to me is something that can change the world. It's something that can change humanity. It's something that can change the face of medicine, and not just cannabis. And people say cannabis, and we all think of smoking marijuana and using it as edibles, but I mean hemp as well. This is a product that I think is miraculous. It was definitely put on this planet by God, by, if you're religious, or if you're Rastafarian, it was grown on King Solomon's grave. It's the weed of wisdom. It's the weed of enlightenment. It's the weed of spirituality. It's the weed of peace and smoking peace pipes. It's hemp. It's what rejuvenates our earth. It's what cleans our air. It's what cleans our water. I don't know what it can't do.
You can't overstate its benefits. I mean, I understand. Yeah.
The legislators ask me, okay, so we got this hemp bill going on, which seemingly is going to pass in Florida, and they ask me, what's the detriment of hemp? Like, there has to be. Why is it illegal then? I'm like, I don't know. Money and greed, textiles. Look at DuPont. Look at William Randolph Hearst and pulp and deforestation. That's why it's legal, because people are invested in that and not hemp. And times are changing. It's a thank you to you guys for doing this and publicating it and educating people on it, because education is the only way. I think the internet has been a huge catalyst in us being able to spread this message and getting the education out there to people, because we only had what the government fed through the media before. Now we have the ability to see if someone in California or in Israel posts a study about cannabis. We can see it everywhere. We can see somebody's test results. Say, look, I had cancer 8 months ago or 6 months ago. I've been using Rick Simpson oil. Look, my scans are clear. And we see that.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's exciting.
Last question. You've handled a lot of high-profile cases involving cannabis over the years, and some of them have words like historic and landmark and groundbreaking attached to them. The trial with Jesse Teplicki is making the rounds again on the internet. I've seen a bunch of people share that again. But out of all the trials that you've been on, which one are you the most proud of, or the one that you think has made the most impact?
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think I can answer that question. I would like to say Jesse's, from my perspective, legally and fighting this defense through the state, had a huge impact. Number one, because we did a writ to the 4th DCA with regards to the state trying to exclude the medical necessity defense, and the state denied it. So I've had a lot less pushback from counties and judges and things like that across the state when I come and I say, hey, there's this medical necessity defense. Pretty much when I go to a new county, they look at me like, no, that doesn't exist in Florida.
Right.
And then I send them this information and it provides them to me. But from my perspective, it's not enough. I haven't done enough. I'm behind in what I feel like I should have done. I'm glad that I've had those accomplishments, but the fact that people are still being arrested and still being prosecuted, or still afraid to use cannabis or speak out because of it, and whether or not you're a patient or an adult or a person, a child that I had, a kid, he was in high school, college, he got busted with a joint in the car. I think it may have even been half a joint. He lost his scholarship for ROTC. And that was a dream. He wanted to be in the military, defend our country. So I'm not proud of any of it because I haven't done enough. I haven't accomplished my goals of legalization, and I hope to get there someday. I hope that I've helped people. I hope that I've impacted people, but I haven't done anything yet.
Great answers again, Mr. Minardi. Cannot thank you enough for giving us the time to see you. It was great to meet you. It was great to talk to you.
No, it's my pleasure. And thank you guys again for covering it and supporting this issue. And I look forward to working with you guys and continuing to hopefully have you guys at events throughout the state to push this issue. And these different illnesses that this disease affects, it's not just the 10 enumerated. Those are, but I know dispensaries and people in other states that have treated over 50, 60 illnesses with cannabis, some that no other medication in the world has helped. And they get this and all of a sudden they're better. And you don't have compassion and caring for that, you're just not part of this human race.
Yeah, as someone with Crohn's disease, it took me many years before I figured out that I don't have to suffer the way that I was, that I don't have to deal with the way that I was. There's better medicine out there. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's plant and it's natural.
And it's not a
should be
drug.
free.
Yes, it's, yeah.
I say this about FDA-approved medications. FDA does not mean safe. FDA means that they've tested it and they've proven that they can use it for this disease, but that it also has side effects. But we're going to allow you to suffer those side effects because they paid enough money to pass their drug through the FDA procedures. That's all FDA approved means. It does not mean safe under any sense of the word. And anybody who's seen a commercial about any of these FDA approved drugs, and instead of your doctor telling you to get it, these commercials are publicizing, telling you to go ask your doctor about this medication. But when patients use cannabis and it's all, what do they call it? Self-diagnosis or circumstantial evidence. There's no real evidence of cannabis. When you talk to the thousands, millions of patients across this state and this country, when they call you every day, thanking you for standing up and fighting for them when they can't, you know that this is a medicine. When they're crying because they had one good day with their children or grandchildren, because they were able to use cannabis that they never used before, and they had the ability to move their body like they did and get rid of their chronic pain, or had the ability to not have depression and be able to go out and be happy because they have that horrible side effect of euphoria. You know that cannabis is real, and then you know that you can't turn your back on it, and I know that I can't turn my back on the people and the patients of Florida and this country, and I promise I will continue to do this for the rest of my life, until I die, until it's legal. And I just ask everybody to stand next to me, not behind me, but beside me, so that we can do this together and we can make a difference in this world.
Okay.
Dude, you got me. I'm standing right there, man. Awesome. Thank you again.
No,
Thank you
it's my
again.
pleasure, you guys.